Okay, so this is April 5th. I think this is, goodness, probably the 4th or the 5th video. The last video was a little more on the heavy side, but I like it. I appreciate it. And these are big feelings, and it's heavy in nature, and it should be. And to sort through them or to sift through them is a good thing. But anyhow, so let's circle all the way back to what I was saying when I first started walking is, oh goodness, I'm looked upon as being in a very pitiable state and situation, and by some people, and there's many folks that used to invite me over for Bible studies and used to invite me over for tea and all these different things. And now that they know that I think last year they would have suspected that I would have been unhoused, but now that they know that I'm like there's like a financial issue going on with me, so I'm financially impoverished, it's like they treat me like a societal or social pariah. And so they break plans with me. They don't keep their promises, which is that's reflective of things inside of the heart. And but they distance themselves from me. I cannot say this enough. Like it really hurts, but at the same time, it's exemplary of, an issue in the way we rank things in our minds. And I think of like in high school, I fell prey to it big time, where I had certain friends, and they were, in my mind, I probably wouldn't have vocalized this to anybody, but they were part of the cool group, so I would allow them to get away. I'd tolerate different things that they'd say and do because they're part of the cool group, and I want to be part of the cool group, and we're all part of the cool group, and there's certain privileges that come with that. But then there's different folks that, maybe they had shoes from a department store, so not just like, wouldn't even be designer shoes, but the fashionable shoes that we all got into, and they didn't have maybe the starter jackets like we had. So we literally treat them like a pariah, a social pariah, like they didn't do anything wrong. There's no justifiable reason to be too cruel to them, but they wouldn't get invited to certain parties, or they weren't included in certain conversations because we had like a social club, an exclusive social club. And I was completely wrong. That was very wrong of me. And the reason why I did that was actually because I was extremely insecure. And I gripped on to these societal appraisals that allowed me to think more highly of myself than I ought to, and allowed me to, selfishly reap the benefits that came along with these appraisals. And so anyway, so now I'm on the other side of that. I'm much older now too, and I find it's liberating, in all honesty, being on the other side of that. I actually find being caught up in that is more of, whatever the opposite word of liberating is. I'd like to say restrictive, but confining or confinement, I think, would be a good word. Because then you're tethered to opinions, you're tethered to a belief system that you don't fully agree with. And however, if you're coming into agreement with it, you're actually part of that belief system and part of, the damaging effects of that belief system, and you're part of like the closed doors that marginalize a more vulnerable population. So there's major consequences that come with that, and they're consequences that are felt both with the person and then experienced in the environment around them. But anyway, so for me, I was just thinking about this morning, how, oh goodness, I'm still in a privileged state where, I have a house, like a bed. I'm fed right now. I have the mental faculties to pursue I promised myself I'd write on behalf of the vulnerable population, and it was never about being a prolific writer. It was never about having like exciting plot twists and cliffhangers. It was always about just bringing forth the reality that's around us. So the execution of publishing something that is organic and authentic would supersede or take precedence over, creating something that has mass appeal due to its clever plot twists and its beautified aesthetics. And so I'm in alignment with that. I'm working on different manuscripts. I got to submit a couple of manuscripts last month. But also, and most importantly, I think everybody that I've talked to anyways, deep down inside that, they've always realized, like, I might not know what it is I'm purposed to do, but I desire to treat others the way I desire to be treated. I desire to be what I would consider, from its purest form, without any hypocrisies, a good person, and to strive to seek the truth, not my version of the truth, but the truth that is out there, and then to abide in the truth, and to allow others to abide in the truth, and to be the change I desire to see, and to live in a society where, or a world where the contents of the heart are being examined, as opposed to the external the external parts of the person being cleaned and presented as like the core of the person. So anyhow, right now I am impoverished, and this is what I want to speak to the hearts of all the people out there that are struggling, is if you desire to help other people, you don't have to have lots of money to help other people. You can help other people by praying for them, by sincere kind words, by speaking sincerely to them. First and foremost, and I probably should start with this, is seeking first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and then allowing him to add everything to you. So God is the only one that's worthy to be called good, and he's the only one that can actually bring things into proper order, because he is a God of order, and he's the only one that can reveal the truth, because there's no lie that is found in him. And what I find, like right now, I got folks in another country, and they're going through some really bad hardships, and goodness, I have the opportunity we found a way to, there's some depots over in their country. We found, and they're all approved by their government, so we found ways to, a little more expensive, but to get food to them, the food that we need. And we've opened the lines of communication, figured out who's got, it's quite windy, who's got, solar powered generators, and who's got freezers, and and then we've documented the, like, rice and beans, for example, are the food, and eggs too, that are most long lasting, and so I've talked with different folks around here, so it's important just to be out in society, and different wonderful folks that are so generous and benevolent, and I can't say enough good about these individuals. And I mentioned that, like, these needs, and they said, well, you need to write these things down, and we'd love to help. So that's what I'm going to provide some updates with, is I might not have the finances, but I can help orchestrate the transfer of these finances to produce and bring forth, like, the food that's needed, and I'll document everything, make sure that 100% of the finances goes to these individuals. And this is what I want to speak into the hearts of each person, is you don't have to have finances. Like, you can be impoverished and still make a major difference in your community. And I find it's like, oftentimes it's just as simple as being an authentic voice and being true, like doing things for the right intention, without being ruled and governed by greed, or ruled and governed by lust, or ruled and governed by this desire to be seen by everybody and to be heralded as something as more than you truly are. once again, in doing so, trying to cleanse the external casing without acknowledging and removing the filth that's inside. So anyhow, I think I'm going to conclude this. It's quite windy, and I'm assuming this is impacting the volume and the clarity in this video. So, but anyways, God bless you. I'm going to continue this wonderful walk, and also too, I just want to say to each and every one of you that might be facing that stigma or these attacks from individuals that maybe they're ruled by a greedy spirit, and or a spirit of greed, or ruled by, as the Holy Scriptures call it, mammon. So trying to serve both God and mammon, perhaps, if they're in the churches. I just want to speak God's life and His love into your heart, and to remind you that you're not defined by these external things. And right now, this you never know what the next step, just like this corner I'm about to come to, you never know what the next step is going to have. You never know. You could always transfer into a completely different situation. So it's wise to be content in all things, and to also reap the learning lessons from every situation. In order to do so, you have to be present with a still heart to reap these things, to see these opportunities, and then you build upon them. And I think that's wonderful. And I think going through these hard times, they reveal what is inside of you. And when you endure through them, this is all by God's power and His grace. When I endure through them, and after I endure through them, this is something that can't be taken away from me. This is an obstacle that was meant to dissuade me, or to hurt me, or to discourage me, or to cause me to fall into a pit of despair, that God brought me through. So it brings me closer to Him, brings me closer to myself, and it also brings me closer to the reality that the external things don't define me. So to be separated from the external things and to put them in the proper order is actually one of the best things ever. And you're fine when you do that. Internally, you're filled with a peace that passes all understanding.